3, 2, 1. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and today I have a very special guest. Geoffrey Breedwell is in the building. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm actually 35, so this is really awkward.
No worries. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. You feel any different now that you're 35 versus how you did at 34?
Let's see. I leveled up, so I got at least one perk point that I was able to use.
For sure.
For all the Skyrim nerds out there, you know, kicking it up.
Where can I redeem my perks? I don't think I know where.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm more of a mage kind of coming across. That's my character anyway, so I kind of used mine in destruction magic and doubled up, you know, getting my fire on, you know. For sure. So, yeah.
No doubt. I want to thank you again for stopping by the show. Just for the folks out there who are unfamiliar, the format of it is we do a few warm-up intro questions just to set the tone, threw in an icebreaker in there as well. After that, we jump into the main portion where you either get to choose a number between 1 and 34, or we do this new thing called the wheel. I have to find a better way to roll that out, but yeah, for now it's the wheel.
I like what you did there. I'm going to find a better way to roll out the wheel. The wheel of questions.
Now I'm going to have to sample that and just play that effect when it goes through. But yeah, man, my very first question for you is, how have you been?
I've been good. Just had had a pitch meeting for a book that I'm working on, and that went very well. That happened today. I'm in the last 2 classes of my master's degree, finishing that up for my master's of Divinity. So kind of kicking over that and finishing that up towards pastoral work. And my wife and kids are going to be gone the next 2 days. So that's great. I get some time with myself.
For sure. Man, you put some stuff in there that I just have questions about. Masters of Divinity.
Yes, sir.
What is that? Tell me more about that.
So a Masters of Divinity is where you get your master's level degree. It's not like theology, which is a little bit more well-rounded. This Divinity is Christian-based, and it's more geared towards being a pastoral leader in a church. So whether it's going to be towards like the youth function and kind of going from there, or it's going towards being like a pastoral counselor or something along those lines. And so I'm going to Lipscomb University right now in Nashville, Tennessee. And I could not have any better teachers or professors, because they've been side by side with me the whole way. And it's been a long road with lots of writing and reading. I now have my own library because of this, of all the books. So it's pretty crazy what's going on.
For sure. I will dig into that more down the road in the interview. But yeah, the other thing is, congrats on the book meeting. I don't know if it's too early for congratulations just yet, but I'm glad it went well. Is it your first book?
First book, first pitch meeting. And I had my outline. It was over the phone, had my outline going on, and her initial response was, "Wow, are you a public speaker?" Kinda. Like, maybe. I've been in broadcasting all my life, so, and, you know, grew up on the stage, so maybe, I guess. But had my outline right in front of me, so that, you know, allowed the pitch to roll seamlessly off of that. And it actually was very well. She seemed to enjoy the pitch and the roles that were happening along with the pitch. So this is my first book I've ever written or undertaken in writing.
Will it be your last book? Or
I have no idea. Probably not.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. Whatever God wills to happen, it'll happen. But You know.
I feel it. And then you mentioned your wife and kids are going to be out of the house for a couple of days.
They are.
How are you going to enjoy that time?
Well, I have a meeting with a church that I'm interviewing with to be their youth and discipleship pastor. So I have that happening later tomorrow night. Then I have like a few hours after work that I can either skate, work on homework, probably will work on homework. And then I will go skateboard on Thursday night at my favorite park. So I can, at least get that in this week.
For sure.
But it's been raining here like crazy. So my legs are like itching. Like, come on, let's go.
Is that typical for Tennessee to be raining in July, or is that something different? Gotcha.
No, usually we wear the humidity, and that's about it. Like, we have shirts on, but our shirts become our skin in about 5 seconds. Imagine living in a sauna permanently.
Yeah.
And then you step out, right? You step out with air conditioning, out of your air conditioned car. And like, you've got glasses, right? So you know what it's like to go from a coldish environment into a warmish, humid environment.
Instant
and
fog.
You're like, oh, I can't see. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Hold on, Becky. I can't exit the car yet. Hold on, I gotta here.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling for sure. Oh, especially with the masks. The masks the past couple of years, man, I've been blind.
Oh my gosh.
Been blind,
Yeah, you have to have it up here so you super look like a Mortal Kombat character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, just hanging on like this,
Or you put the tape right there underneath your eyes.
Oh,
so.
You did the tape. I would put mine like all the way up here, so it would kind of be like this. And it's just weird.
And it would look more badass if you had it up there. If we didn't have the glasses.
Oh yeah. No, it would look totally awesome if if I had LASIK or like one of you perfect 20/20 vision people.
Yeah. You planning on getting LASIK, or that's not?
No. That's not going to be in the cards for me. My LASIK, the doctor, when I went for a catch up. Hang on a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Went up for a kind of a consult on it, and he said, yeah, no, it's going to be there for it's going to be fine for in the first 10 years. And then you're going to go ahead and just need glasses anyway.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, why am I going to need glasses in 10 years? I mean, screw that. I'll just, suck it up.
I hear you, man. That's kind of discouraging for me now, because they always told me, my eyes are just too bad for it. I don't know what your prescription is, but I'm like -11, -9 in another eye. So it's just so bad that I'm out of luck. And I had hope though. I had hope that one day as I get older, I'm gonna be able to do it. But now it's
I love it. I love it when they're just like, you know what? We just need your eyes to stabilize, and then we can go ahead and fix it. And I'm like, well, my eyes have been the same for 3 years. I just got a transplant. So, I mean, they've been the same. I've had the same pair of eyes for 35 years. Come on, lady.
I think I know if they're stable, right?
I'm pretty sure they're right in there. Pretty sure they're locked in.
I got you, man. I got you. My next question for you in the warm-up is, what would you like the audience to know about you?
Okay, so some of the audience that I can know about, just talking to you guys personally. Hello. Hi. My name is Jeff, and I like long walks on the beach and the skate park and holding hands when it's wet. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, my name's Geoffrey Breedwell, and I really, as far as it comes to know about me, is just in this little warm up, you're going to know a lot of things about me and my views, my story on how things have worked within my life. And in all honesty, I hope you see Christ in me before you see me. But when you see me, or if you just see me as a person, you're going to smile in some form or fashion.
For sure. I mean, you see me, man. You've had me cheesing and cracking up this whole time. So it's not even 10 minutes yet. So
it's not even 10 minutes. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you are going to go ahead, put your things down now in your comment section below for YouTube. Go ahead and put it down in the comment section below. If you think you're going to laugh, go ahead. Let's see if you're going to laugh or not. We'll make that prediction now.
I guess I gotta do it now because I drop everything.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm not going to laugh because this guy doesn't have any hair.
Second question for you, man, is if someone were to pay you a tribute, how would you like to be honored? If I was gonna tell myself today I'm gonna do something in the honor of Geoffrey, what act could I do for you? I would only have certain preferences. One, it's got to come from you. It's got to be honest and be creative. Something that you came up with by being inspired by either something that I did, something that I do, or something that I believe. And it will not only just benefit me, but it's going to benefit everybody else. That everybody else is going to get a kick out of it. Everybody else is going to get to feel the same love that we have for ourselves. They're going to feel that too. I got you, man. I got you. So, now we all know. Now we all know.
Now we all know.
And my last question for you in the warm-up is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
I don't know. Honey, how well do I know myself? Wife says a 3. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, is that what she really said?
It's like, dang. It's no wonder I'm wearing a hoodie, man. It's constantly cold in my house. No, I'd probably say that it's probably about a 7 to 8 just because of the blind spots. I'm trying to make myself more aware of my blind spots and the things that other people know about me that I don't know. And, you know, when they see that third section, and then there's only that thing that people think about me that they know, but that is wrong, or that they do know. Then there's that fourth thing that, you know, nobody knows at all, and that only God knows. And I'm really trying to learn that corner as best I can.
I gotcha. What would you say is your favorite thing about your personality?
I love to make people laugh. I love to entertain people. I love to, whether it's using different accents, different voices and characters that I use or come up with, making jokes, writing jokes, or being able to touch people on a emotional level. And let them know, kind of to feel that love and to feel validated and that you are heard. You are a person that is worth hearing, that is worth living, that is worth showing who you are to someone else.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Would you say that's something that you were born with, like that outlook or that way of life, or was it something you had to grow into? Or was inspired by something? I was really inspired by a lot of different things that I would take from my life. Like, it's been mostly like an amalgam of several different things. It's not like just, you know, one thing. Like my dad, may he rest in peace. He died in January of COVID, and we just had a celebration of life at the end of June. And it was amazing to see how many people were there. And then out of the people that were there, it was to hear their stories and how he affected them with not just the, you know, really big things, but the small things
just being there, making him laugh. When it's like you just walk into his room. He was a special ed teacher in his later part in life, and it was that you walk into his room and you could just feel love. I was like, yeah. So that, and Robin Williams, and he's had a big effect on my comedy and my wit. Same thing as characters and character voices. Different things from a lot of different people. Dana Carvey with the impressions and the voices as well. And then I learned a lot, and I mean a lot, when I came back to Christianity in 2012. And then as I started studying more through my undergrad and through my master's, I've learned so much, and so much stuff that was wrong with what we're doing that I pointed out in my rebellion, and was like, oh yeah, no, this is exactly what's wrong. And it's, oh no, that's why. This is the real in-depth version of why. It wasn't just a simple answer. It was like fully documented all the way out of why. And being able to see that and identify that has really made me conscious to making sure that I don't do that on a personal level with other people. I don't want to continue a trend of misogyny and sexism and everything else, because that doesn't make sense with what we're told. We're told to love each other as we love ourselves, and I like to love myself pretty good. So I might as well, I have to love others just as well. And if I don't, it's selfishness. Which doesn't.
If you don't, it's selfishness?
Yeah, if I don't, right? So if you love others more, if you love yourself more than you love others, it's selfishness, right? That's greed. But if you love others more than you love yourself, that's self-deprecation. That is not selflessness, because you're being selfless. That's like a temporary act. But having a viewpoint of that, where you have this moment or these times where you're like, oh no, I'm the sacrifice the hero, I will sacrifice myself for this person. Those notions, those are selfless moments. But to have a lifestyle or a trend where I constantly view and value the lives of other people over myself, that's the true life of self depreciation, because you're not really valuing who you are as a creation of God. Yeah.
For a person who is self-deprecating, what kind of advice could you give them to get them out of that mindset?
I've been there. And I want people to know that if they are hearing this and they do see this, where they're like, yeah, I value others more than I value myself. Yeah, I constantly give this. I want to tell you, you're not alone. There are people who are out there. And if you are feeling guilt or shame out of that feeling, that, man, I'm not feeling right, I'm not doing it right, I'm not loving myself enough. The only way to truly love yourself is to get to know who you are. It's like in a relationship, you can't really love a person if you don't know who they are. We go to like 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4-7, for the definition of what exactly love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't envy. It doesn't boast. It doesn't rejoice within evil or the bad things, but it relishes, it loves, and has peace within the truth. Those notions of where it is faithful matters to who you are. So are you patient with yourself? Or you're not, man, come on, I got to do better. Okay, that's motivation. Yeah. But do you constantly tell yourself that? You know, it's like, man, I got to do better. You were brushing your teeth, Steve. What are you doing? You know, or that's a lot of where like negative self-talk comes in. And you get to those notions of negative self-talk and you're like, okay, I got to stop this. I've got to be better. And you're like, okay, well, you got to be patient. You got to be kind to yourself. Listen to your body. If you're constantly working out and constantly working 7 days a week without a day off, rest. Go take a nap. You'd be surprised how well that happens. Take a day, take a week, however long you need to take to rest. And it is tremendous on what happens.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah, that's some stuff I have to keep in mind myself, to be honest. Yeah. This whole journey of doing this podcast and, connecting with folks and, it's been a way for me to kind of also reevaluate my self-worth and be more comfortable and gain to know who I am. A big part of how this all came up is because, I looked at myself in the mirror, for a year and a half through all this quarantine and COVID, and really just thought about what I enjoy and how I can incorporate other people or give back to people doing what I enjoy, which is having deep conversations with strangers, just feeling like, I'm interacting with everybody in my community as a whole.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great.
I've definitely been in that boat as well, man. And I think I still am. I don't think I'm out of it. But it feels good to feel like I'm climbing out of it, out of the hole a little bit. But yeah.
I don't think we ever truly leave that. Like it's a battle. Every day is a battle. Every moment. Every choice. We all battle of it. Sometimes it's easier than others, but other times it, as you said, you're climbing out of that hole. Sometimes the rungs get slippy. Sometimes the mountain you're pushing up the boulder on. Well, sometimes it rains and it gets muddy and you fall and the boulder chases you and then you die again, but you get back up and you do it again.
Yeah.
Because that's what you got to do.
I think my biggest problem is when my mountain starts to get steeper as I get higher, and I think I start letting go, or I get intimidated. Whatever reason, I just seem to tell myself like, no, I'm okay where I'm at. When I know deep down that's not true. So. That fight against complacency. No. Yeah, I feel you on that one. For sure. Well. Thank you for your point of view, man. Definitely appreciate you sharing it.
I appreciate your point of view as well, and what you said and how vulnerable you just were on having to climb out of the thing. That took a lot of courage, so I appreciate that as well.
No doubt. Before we jump into the main portion, I want to throw you a little icebreaker, if you don't mind.
Oh no, I gotta break some ice.
You have a choice. Would you rather do a one-word spelling bee or a riddle?
Let me do a one-word spelling bee.
How do you feel about your spelling skills?
I feel okay.
Okay. All right.
I wanted to give a shout out to Grammarly. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
saved my butt on multiple occasions in my papers and my book. So love you guys.
Your word is going to be soliloquy.
Okay. SOLO QUIL ICY?
I'm sorry.
Maybe?
I'm sorry, boss.
I probably got that wrong.
Yeah, blame Grammarly,
No. Curse you, Grammarly!
The correct spelling was SOLI.
Ah, dang it!
LOQUY.
I was like, oh, soliloquy, so solo. Okay. My gosh.
Yeah, like I said, it's all Grammarly's fault. So
It's no. That's ADHD. That's what that is.
But thank you for giving it a shot.
I gave it a shot, and I hit it like Shaq hitting the free throw. I mean, that's just what happens.
I mean, we all can't be spelling masters,
No, we can't. We can't. Shout out to your spelling masters. Shout out to you guys. If you're a spelling master, leave a comment below.
Point something out that we misspelled. But yeah. All right, boss. We made it to the main portion of the interview where you can either choose a number between 134, or if you'd like, you could head over to the big wheel.
Let's head over to the wheel of questions.
Well, here we go. And let's give it a spin for your first question.
Big money, no whammies.
29 easy.
29 easy.
Your first question is,
all right,
what is something you supported early? If you've ever, for me, in my mind, I think of it as, you were the first fan of a musician before they blew up, or you had thought this invention, like you Googled before everybody was Googling, Sure. So is there anything like that for you?
I want to say Peabo. He's not really blown up yet, but he is slowly chugging his way and making his way through the Christian hip hop world. And same thing for KB. KB was a Christian hip hop artist, still is. I don't know why I said was. Is a Christian hip hop artist. The same with Peabo. They both have two dramatically different styles, but are both incredibly catchy. And with their styles, I just really loved them, really got into their songs, found them out through YouTube, and I was just hooked. I was like, man, I really love these guys. These guys are awesome. And KB had a song called No Chains where he's like, look, you don't have any chains on me. There's no chains. I am chain free. And I'm like, every time I see somebody wearing a chain necklace, which ironically enough, I am now wearing a chain necklace, but that's my dad. Irony. There is that aspect of where it's like, okay, you have a chain, like a legitimate, big chain hanging around your neck. And with Peabo, it was more of happy. He was happy hip hop. I'm like, I haven't heard happy hip hop before. Not only that, it was happy Christian hip hop. And I'm like, oh yeah, dude, okay. All right, yeah, no, this is pretty hot. Okay. And then one day I was driving Lyft here in Nashville. I had an A&R rep in my car. And they're like, have you heard of any other artists or anything else like that you could, you'd recommend?
What?
I'm like, one, why is an A&R rep in asking the Lyft driver for recommendations? But it was cool. I mean, she was multiple times, and I had all these really good songs on in the car that she was just enjoying. So I mentioned Peabo to her, and I don't know officially if this is how it came up, but I did mention Peabo to her. Then Peabo, not too long afterwards, came out with a song that talked about a meeting with a record company. Like his Instagram post said he was in Nashville. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You were in Nashville. All right. And then he came out with a song after that, was like, oh, they said my songs were too kiddie. How long can I have to be stuck in this city? And I'm like, what? Did it backfire? Man, that sucks. Did I do that? Dude, I'm sorry. Felt a little personal guilt. Not even close if it's actually that of what happened. There's a huge like missing piece of information there. But definitely supported them very early, before a lot of people have now.
For sure.
So
that was a crazy story, man.
It's right. That's a national story. That's a story. It's like I got off the bus and then they heard me singing in the bus station and then I got an album.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's crazy to think that an A&R executive was just in your car asking you for advice and you were able to kind of like point them in a direction of which artists you personally enjoyed and would like to see, you know, pop off. Yeah.
And that was the last day they were ever in my car.
Should have.
That just adds to the evidence of how crazy it was.
Yeah. And then Peabo releasing a song shortly after about a whole experience about me. I couldn't help but like connect those dots for myself if that happened to me, you know, like.
Right. And I'm just kind of like, I'm sitting there and I'm hearing his song and I'm listening to it and I'm like, okay. And then the next like 3 or 4 songs go on his journey with it, with his level of acceptance where he questioned himself and his music because of this. And then he dramatically improved to being more melodic, but also with like super sick lines. And now he has a song that they just released that's out now. I'm pulling it up, not to play or anything because of, you know, YouTube's thing. But you can look it up on your own. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, and whatnot. Where did it go? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the wrong playlist. It's not going to be in lo-fi beats. It is called Go by Trey Mutava and Peabo. And Peabo does a thing in that, and that song only released like 2 days ago.
I'll check it out, man.
So it's pretty fire, and you can go through his timeline, and you can see, and you'll hear the song that I'm talking about, where it's like he's growing up, and then it just kind of gets into this whole different aspect of things, and he's got Big Feelings. That's the Big Feelings was the song that came out in 2020. Talked about it.
Big Feelings.
Big Feelings. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? That's okay. I'm sorry. And Peabo, if for some reason you're watching this and you connect those dots too and you find out that it's me, I will buy you coffee. I don't know if that'll be any help, but you and I can go have coffee, okay?
I mean, honestly, like you said, after that meeting, his music kind of improved. He got more melodic. Yeah. So maybe that's he should be thanking you.
I don't know. Maybe.
But yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
It's the letter P, B-O-D.
P-A, then bod. So like the vegetable pea.
Gotcha.
And then bod.
For sure.
So he has Healthy Snacks, which is his first stuff that he put out, which is absolutely hilarious. Shoot from the Hip talks about, you know, being a millennial and being an adult, and talking about how we never were really taught anything. We're just, you know, we're legitimately shooting from the hip. And that's because, like, his points are fire. His theology makes sense. Very much so, especially since, I mean, he's from the Pacific Northwest. So I can't wait for his song to come out about fire or, heat wave.
Yeah.
I'm not about that. So,
well, what do you think about that statement he made about millennials not being taught anything? It's interesting. That's the first time I ever heard it in that way, but from my mind, it made me really think about it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Like, so when you left high school, were you taught how to file taxes?
No.
Okay. Were you taught how to apply for a job?
Yes, I remember doing applications at school. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember anything having to like write what bills would be due, what bills you would need when it comes to when it comes to living on your own? No, or how the government works, or how the speeding tickets work, or
yeah, a lot of stuff that wasn't included for sure in our education.
Right? Yeah, why college is important. I mean, we got that speech ad nauseum, right? But we didn't get into what student loans actually are and how long it's going to cost you to pay it off. We didn't get into, filing your taxes. How do you file your taxes when you're 18 and you're no longer considered a dependent off of your parent? I went right back to my dad and asked him, please help. And he taught me how to do mine. And then I married a woman who was very good with money, and now she does it. So
and that's an important key right there.
And that's the key.
I got you.
Marry someone who's better with money than you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the two sides, right? The two opposites. You got to work together as a team to be a full adult,
Where two become one, they shall become an adult.
I wanted to ask you about your whole journey through your spiritual journey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you had talked about stepping away from Christianity and coming back in 2012. Kind of, if you don't mind sharing, what was that journey like for you?
So I'll sum it up real quick, because by itself it could take up and has taken up an entire podcast that has been at least 2 hours. So I was born in Southern California, just outside of Disneyland. Not in Disneyland. Mickey Mouse is not my dad. Well, I mean, that's what you say. Well, okay, dude, come on. I'm supposed to be here. What? You didn't extend me an invite? Come on. But no, I was raised in the church. We bounced from church to church. Growing up, so I got to see a lot of different denominations and whatnot. I was baptized at age 8 in the Southern Baptist Church that we then promptly left for some reason. But bounced from that, and then at 13 I got called into the ministry. I actually heard God's voice talking to me, where he said, Jeff, I want you to be in my ministry. It's gonna be a long road. It's gonna be a while, but I want you to be in my ministry. And I'm like, do what? Like that TikToker, just what? Just I'm like, okay. So I go and tell my mom, and my mom was like, well, you should pray and just ask God for like a fire thing, something like Moses. Okay. So I do. And the next year I fractured my skull skateboarding. I stopped skateboarding like pretty soon after that. As a kid, I wasn't wearing a helmet, 14, thought I was invincible. It happens. But 2 years later after that, I am at a church doing a youth thing, and then I see I'm off to pray and I see a legitimate fire that doesn't burn. I see the fire. I see demonic beasts and a guy that looks really weird, but yet also familiar, you know, and it strikes the ever living daylights of fear into me where I almost die, but straight up miracle happens and I live. And then pretty soon after that, I started really getting into the paranormal and getting into that other side and starting to feel out, you know, what did I actually see? Trying to figuring it out. And while I was dating a girl, I was 19 and we had gotten into a fight. And this angel, while I was dreaming, like came to me and said, go fight for her. Go get up and fight and everything will be okay. I'm like, that's the weirdest thing ever. But I'm like, okay. And I get showered and whatnot. And I do the most John Hughes thing ever.
What'd you do?
Dude, I walk up her street. I parked like a block away. I walk up her street with my guitar, singing Hey There, Delilah. Very off key. While walking up. And then I get outside her door. There are lights on in the house. And I'm playing it. And I finish the song and no one opens the door.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So I knock on the door. Nothing. I call her. I was like, hey, where are you? She's like, oh no, we just left.
Oh.
There were cars in the driveway, bro. Like, no.
Yeah.
So I get incredibly frustrated and heartbroken. We end up breaking up again. And in my heartbreak and in my anger, I curse God. I legitimately look at God, or what was representative of God. In my case, it was the sky that day, or that night driving home. I flip him off. I recant my belief in Jesus being the Christ, effectively nullifying my baptism and nullifying my belief. And then I wake up the next morning and I feel freer, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was the complete opposite. You know, you hear like adult Christians talking about it. It's like, I woke up the next day and after I gave my life to Christ and I was like, ah, it's life. Right? You know, you feel that.
Yeah.
I felt the exact opposite, which was weird. So I start studying different religions. End up, I stay away from all the Abrahamic faiths. Get more, you know, I try to study Sikh. Get into Buddhist, Taoist. You know, I do the whole thing. End up being some amalgamation of Star Wars and the Force with loving everybody. But also it's like love is like the Force. It was weird. I don't know. It was like Chex Mix, but with bad theology. Terrible doctrine. So, and that was the belief structure I had even when I met my wife in 2009. So I met her in January. I proposed in April. We were going to be married that October. We found a place by June. The next month in July, that place was struck by lightning and burned to the ground. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I'm still in my anger, so I know it's him. Right? It's like I'm treating his name almost like it's Voldemort. And just being in my anger, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So we end up finding a place, and the only place we can get married is my dad's church, my mom and dad's church. And we go through the counseling, we get the whole 9 yards, we get married in the church. And then we have, I go off to the Navy not too long after that. So we get married in October. I go off that next July in 2010 to boot camp.
Wow. Yeah.
So we barely got any time to really kind of know each other as a couple. But she comes back up to Groton, where I become like stationed for school. We have 2 miscarriages, one right after another, which is heartbreaking. Shout out to any parent who has ever had a miscarriage ever. I feel you. I know it doesn't make the pain any easier. But we moved down to Kings Bay, Georgia, where I go on the USS Rhode Island, a ballistic missile submarine. It's my first Navy ship and my first Navy actual like assignment. And I'm there for like 3.5 years. And in those 3.5 years, we have another miscarriage. And after that miscarriage, it's my second patrol. And I actually go to a Bible study at the request of my mom and my wife. I'm like, okay, sure. So I go, and a shipmate of mine is reading a passage from 1 Corinthians. And he looks up at me and he says, Breedwell, I think God is talking to you right here. That's the exact same face I had. I'm like, do what now? He said, yeah, I from what I'm getting, I don't think God's going to let you have a kid until you're right with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. That's like biblical style stuff. And I'm not trying to come across as illusions of grandeur. I promise. There's evidence for all of this. And I get back. I tell my wife everything. We'll back up a little bit beforehand. I'm like, okay, God, fine. You want me to come back? Great. Sure. But first, you're going to answer all my questions about everything ever. You're going to answer why Christians are the way they are. You're going to answer why Christians believe the things that they believe and why there's so much controversy, why there's so much pain. And I'll do my part. And I believe, I withheld my off-going meal so I could study instead of eat. And I studied the word and read, talked to our lay leader at the time, who's still in the Navy. And he kind of was that voice for God, almost like that voice for the body. So they kind of went back and forth. And 40 days later, I wish I was kidding on the number, but 40 days later, I repent and I come back. And I'm like, okay, all right. I submit. You're right.
Uh-huh.
And we get home. We have like a pretty long off period. And My wife and I try again. We have one more miscarriage after my wife says, I'd love him more even if I had another one. So she has another miscarriage, not by any hurt of her doing, mind you, but it was from that miscarriage and from the third miscarriage that we found out that she has a genetic disorder called MTHFR, and she has the A portion, which I affectionately call Mother Effer A. And it's a genetic disorder that prevents clotting within the womb and within the bloodstream. So she was not able to clot when the baby in the fertilized egg implanted. So it would get nutrients, but then it would fall and slip. So after which, we had gone to see, the reason why we knew all this because we went to see a specialist, of course. And our fifth pregnancy, we try and we're waiting on things. God gives me a dream where I'm swimming on the bottom of the ocean. I look up and I see one person, I see babies sinking. And as the babies are sinking, one person is shallower than I am. I'm down here. One person's way up here. And they catch a baby and swim to the surface. I'm like, okay, cool. I got this. So I see a baby and it's sinking and I catch it and I go back up. And while I hold the baby in my arms, I'm saying to the kid, it's just you and me, baby. It's just you and me. Hold on. Just you and me. As we swim to the surface, and I wake up when we burst out. Well, I'm completely perplexed by this dream, right? So wife and I are working out the next day. I, am praying while I'm running, and I'm like, hey, God, what the heck was that? Please interpret this. Tell me what my interpretation is. And he talks to me, but through my mouth. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like my mind wasn't my mind. My mind was just sitting back in the back. But God was like, I've got control of the voice. And he told me that the person who caught the child that was shallower than me, they were someone close to our family. And they were going to have a baby soon. But the child that I caught would be ours. And also, by the same thing, what I said to the child, that it was just the child and me. He's like, it's the same way with you and me and our relationship. It's just you and me. That's all it is. Just you and me. So, couple days later, a week later, somewhere around there, my wife's best friend discovers that she's 7 months pregnant. She one of her fallopian tubes was crushed and the whole 9 yards. She was mathematically eliminated from being pregnant. And God said, nope. So that baby, and that's my daughter's best friend. And of course, my daughter came to fruition. She's the girl you see right there in this picture with me when I don't have a beard. This person here and that person there. Speaking in the back, she's also this child right here. Her name is Ashlynn, which is Irish for wished for or longed for. So she was, when I tell her story, she was always, dude, you were prophesied. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why I'm here. I have no idea what it is for you. I got no clue, but I'm going to raise you the best way I know how. Because that's my mission.
Yeah.
And then sooner or later, we raise her up, we go to Groton. While we're raising her up, I get called into the ministry again. This time we're at 600 feet below the surface. And this time I'm just like, yep, I know exactly what this is. Yes, sir. I've been here. I know this. So I become lay leader and, starts off from there. And we get up to Groton, Connecticut again. I'm an instructor this time at the same school where I left. And in February of 2016, my wife has a miscarriage. And I have a flashback to past sexual trauma. And I break down. I completely lose it. I become non-functioning for a long time. So I couldn't be there for her. She couldn't be there for me. But God was there for the both of us. As God worked in me and legitimately held my hand all the way, he also gave us another child who everything was great. Everything was going great during the pregnancy. Everything was fine. But on the day of her birth, there were a lot of issues, a lot of breathing issues. Things weren't going the same way. And then we're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and go in and pull her out anyway. After 16 hours. And they pull her out and place her on my wife's stomach. And she's purple. She has the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck. And we're like, oh crap. She's not breathing. She's not crying. And the nurse is rubbing her neck. I move the doctor out of the way and get in there. And I'm rubbing my child as well. And she's still not crying. We're all just saying, come on, baby. Come on, come on, come on. Nothing. And then I say, in the name of Jesus, breathe. That next second, starts crying. I'm just like, that's all. It takes me a minute to really realize what happened, but I'm just like, dang. And that is this girl, who's now much older. She is now 7. She's now 4. And they're both getting ready to be in school. Well, I mean, she's already in school, but she's getting ready to go into pre-K. And it's just awesome. Her name is Zoe, meaning life. We learned her name months before we knew what was happening. That's what I'm just like, I'm telling you. I got nothing. So then after that, pretty soon after that, I get placed on what's called the Temporary Disabled Retirement List, or TDRL for the Navy. Actively stopping my time. So I spent 7 years, 9 months, and 21 days attached to Uncle Sam's canoe service. And within that, I finished my bachelor's degree and got selected to start at Lipscomb University in 2018 in the fall. And in that spring, that's when I came home. I came back to Nashville and lived with my parents, and that's when I started school. And 3 short years later, now I'm here doing a podcast trying to figure out the wheel of questions.
Yo, man, that was quite a story. And is that what your book is about?
No, it's not. It's not. That's one of the options I have, different books. I was like, during the pitch meeting today, I was like, hey, look, I've got several different others, I can write to you. And she's like, no, I want that one. Talking about the idea, I pitched her. So I'm like, okay.
I got you.
I just realized something.
What's up?
At the death of my dad, after my dad had died, and that by itself is a miracle of how we were able to get in during Corona. and the quarantine when I was COVID positive, but was asymptomatic. My dad left a note inside of his Bible that he used every day when I was a kid. This Bible had his notes in it, had his handwriting all over the place. But out of that Bible came a note that was in there, and it said, God doesn't have grandchildren. He just has children. In other words, it's just us and him. Right?
Right.
I'm just... It's interconnected like it's a movie, man. I wish I could write this stuff, but I can't.
You can write it in
okay, yeah, this is the true story about what happened with a guy met a girl and they got together and they had a podcast. No, that's not it.
yeah, man, you have me wrapped up, and honestly, I don't think I have too many questions from you for you coming from that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but it's just like, I know when I re-listen to all these things, I'm just gonna be in awe again. You know, you got something going on with your storytelling, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with it. Just a heads up, we have about 10 minutes left in the podcast. I know we got to do one number.
We got to do one question.
One question.
So I guess, I got to come on again and this time not tell all my stuff.
We will do that. We'll run it back. But no worries. I mean, honestly, this is built so you can share your story, and I think that's exactly what you did. So definitely appreciate you opening up. And yeah, I mean, my folks, I had a sister who had passed away when she was 8. Yeah, man. So it was for my parents, and you had talked about the prophecies for your daughter. My mom likes to tell me a story about how my sister told her, you're gonna have a son after me. Like, this was like while she was on her deathbed. So I think very much so the way you feel about your daughters is how my mom kind of feels about me as well. Just going through that pain of loss, and that's something that I haven't experienced. I can't imagine what it's like. And just, for all the parents out there who are trying and being there for their kids, like, that's everything. The same way God is to us, right? It's everything. So yeah.
And yet, for the parents who don't know this, and this is referenced in the movie Fight Club, as well as the book Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. And you can probably confirm this as well, but parents step into the role of God. Parents are gods to little kids.
Yeah.
Right. Our entire world while we are growing up, we depend on them for everything. So what parents do, what we do, parents. I'm not sure if you're a parent yet.
Not yet.
I know. Okay. So one day, parents, I want to let you know, we model God. We model an imperfect God. Our God is perfect, right? But we model him while also being human and our own mistakes, and showing humility, and showing we show justice. We show discipline, and through that discipline we show love, but we also show patience. We teach our children how to walk, how to speak, how to learn things, how to dress, how to shower, how to bathe. We teach our kids how to take care of themselves. And we, as parents, play that role of God. And if you don't believe me, Ezekiel 16 starts out with that type of notion. when it talks about God and Israel. But later you get like God's point of view within that metaphor of what Israel did in the past, considering that relationship and the way God views it. And it's scathing. Like, dang. Like God makes it just rain ice. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that one out. I haven't done a lot of, too much studying on religion or spirituality and other beliefs, but that is something I've been wanting to get into. So I definitely respect the fact that you took the time to do that, because I think there's a lot of stuff that we could kind of learn about each other and everyone's cultures by doing that, you know.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we jumping back. Oh no, I gotta get this.
Oh no, we're jumping back to the warm up at Be My Guest.
Oh, there we go. We made it to the final stretch. I'm still there.
You are in the final stretch.
Final stretch at 34 questions, man. First things first, before we get into the questions,
Sure.
I got this thing called the 34th mantra. I'm
Okay.
gonna ask you to create a mantra for yourself on the show by filling in this phrase.
Okay.
I am, I can, I will. So I am blank,
Okay.
I can blank, I will blank. How would you fill that out for yourself?
Okay. I am a child of God. I can be humble. And I will love others as I desire to be loved.
For sure, man. And if you ever need a reminder, you got this little soundbite of yourself in the future. If you ever just need to.
I do. There's being humble and loving others as I want to be loved, and identifying myself as a child of God. Those are big battles that I've had throughout my life.
For sure.
There's a lot of blood and scars that come through that.
And it sounds like it. It honestly sounds like it. I know I don't know your whole story. You just gave me, 5% there. But
You have a trilogy of me. And now we're back with Geoffrey Breedwell, part 2.
There you go.
Like and follow for part 2, part 7, part 9.
It sounds like you could start your own production company with all the stories you got, man.
Oh boy, I mean, come on. There's a lot that can be happening, especially with all the animation and things that can go on.
Yo, man, and I gotta give you props on that voice. I'm sure, and all the other voices you've kind of unleashed on the show today.
I mean, I appreciate it a lot. I really do. I think it's right that you're really kind of pushing it out there, getting it going. I appreciate that. Well, it's certainly great that you're out here doing it, and you're out there with the 34 questions and getting it going. So definitely a great time people have been having with the mantra and all that stuff. I think people say that every time before they have a pint out here.
That's awesome, man. Can someone practice how to do that too? Because I want to practice. How do I practice? Because did you record yourself and then listen back and be like, okay, it doesn't sound like it just quite yet? How did that happen?
So okay, you've got like a mixing board, right?
I don't actually.
Okay, but you can hear yourself through your headphones into your mic.
Yeah, I can set that up.
So you have a loop. Okay. So you can do it really live action if you want. You can play a video or play an audio clip of somebody you would like to imitate, and then just try to characterize their voice.
Yeah.
Trump, for example, is more of a character. Trust me. Okay. Look, I'm totally more of a character than anybody could really have. Okay. Look, I know. I talked to a lot of people, and they all say, Trump, you're great. They say, Mr. Trump, you've done so much for this world. And he's like a accordion being a conductor as a penguin. but then he's got the lips.
Yeah.
George W. is a Texas accent, but it's almost like Clint Eastwood, but with a little bit more nasal. And you push your eyebrows together and go up.
Yeah.
Look, all right, I'm going to make sure that you have a lucky day. We're going to go out there and we're going to have a rejubilation to see about us tourists. We'll be out there and trying to figure out what happens. And Obama is really fun because he pauses before he says anything, because he's really taking the time and consideration and care with what he's saying in his voice.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can be said within 34 questions, right? There's a lot. And definitely have the beat, have the pattern, sure. But you want to make sure that you come across with a good boy. Yeah. And you try and a good character right now that's on in popular culture to learn from to learn New Zealand accent, which is quite peculiar, is Omega from Bad Batch.
I got you. Yeah.
She's so accentuated in her character voice. Hi, I'm Omega. How are you? Are you good? Right? It's almost the same thing for like Bad British too, and there are voice acting coaches that are on YouTube, and you can like and subscribe to them. I highly recommend it. They will go through and tell you, certain ways to pitch your voice up higher or do whatever. Especially like, say you don't want a British one, you want to make sure you drop in every T and you put in a little apostrophe there. Just come across. You watch a lot of British bacon shows. You definitely want to do your research.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude. Like, if you don't do your research, you might as well just do us. Yeah. Just remember us.
Right on, man. Thank you for all that. You just went on a whole tangent. I felt like I was watching Frank Caliendo, doing this thing. But yeah, man. Just got a couple closeout questions for you before you head out. This first one's from my previous guest. Shout out to Amber. He wants to ask you, what is your favorite type of body movement? So, how do you like to get moving? You like running? You like dancing? You like jumping up and down? How do you like to get body moving? Okay.
Amber, thank you for the question. You're fantastic if you're watching and listening. And if your name is Amber, go ahead and comment in the comments. My name is Amber. So that'd be great. But so the best way I like to get my body moving is skateboarding.
Oh,
because there is nothing better than being 5'10". I'm 250 pounds. So I'm a stocky dude. I know that. I know how to make my stomach hard and making sure, like, if you punch me, you're punching like a hard pillow. Right? But also at the same time, it's like, I can't fly. But with skateboarding, I can get pretty darn close. Especially moving around in a bowl or moving around in the park and just carving it up. And, ollieing over something, it's a lot harder than it looks. But to do that after like 25 years and to get it out and like bust it out of the car and park really far away at a Walmart and then just, right up to the Walmart door. There's just something to be said where you get up off your board and you're like, you just don't care about all the pressures that are in life. Like, you get on the board and just everything strips away. And when you notice yourself starting to care about anything else that's going on, you're like, okay, whoa, I gotta skate. This is getting too big. Because the skate park is like a time vortex. At least for me, I go there and it's like 3 hours have gone by. And I'm getting texts from my wife. Where are you? You should have been home like an hour and a half ago. The kids want to say goodnight to you. All right.
That's awesome, man. Skateboard.
So that's how I like to get my body moving.
I broke my wrist early, and my parents took my board away from me, and I never got to learn more. And I don't got that balance. I like cruising. I'll cruise to place, but I can't do all these. I can't jump off the curb like the cool kids, you know. Yeah,
okay,
that's where I'm at with it with my skills.
So, all right, let me ask you this. What is your favorite sport that you like to play?
To play?
Mm-hmm.
I think I enjoy playing football the most, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay. Can you throw a forward pass like a spiral?
Yeah.
Okay. You had to learn how to throw a spiral, right?
Yeah.
You had to teach your body how to throw a spiral.
True.
You had to train your body to throw a spiral.
True.
It's the same thing with an ollie or skateboarding. You're going to fall. You're going to get hurt, just like you would in football. I mean, not having a concussion every hit if you're playing a line, but if you're playing like flag football or whatever, you're still going to fall and get hurt. That's a part of it. It's part of life. But you can still train your body. Our bodies are but a tool to get things done that the mind and the spirit want to get done.
I'm not giving up hope. I'm gonna get back on the board and try to jump off the curve one time. man, I got you. It's just raising the nose just a little bit. Just a whoop, and then whee. I got you. I'll give that a shot.
Yeah, man, I got you.
And then second and last question. What would you like to ask the next guest that comes on to 34 questions?
The next guest. Whoever that shall may be. I want to ask this question, and it's a hard question, and it's going to be one that they may skip or may not skip, just based on the area of the question. Who is the one person in your life that is the most difficult to forgive?
Oh, wow. Gotcha.
And I'm not talking about reconciliation. I'm not talking where, you guys are coming together and singing rainbows and having a Coke and, enjoying Xbox together. I'm not talking about that. Just forgiveness, just being able to be okay with what they did in your life. Like being okay with the consequences that were in their life. Who's the hardest person? Who's the most difficult person for you to forgive?
That's a great question. I'm curious how this next person's going to answer that. And then my last question for you, man. The question that ties everything together is 500 years from now, our descendants are watching this video. What would you like to tell them? No pressure. No pressure. 500 years from now, 5,000, 4,000, I don't care. In the future, if you're watching this because you have somehow decoded our digital information system enough to where this astronomical podcast and video has somehow made it onto your player, into your ears, we did not worship superheroes. They were not our gods. Nor did we worship war figures or political figures. Those weren't our rulers. We didn't care for them. We had lots of churches, particularly in the southern United States. Not because they were in competition or because there was that much demand, but because everybody wanted to kind of have their flavor. So, but we did not worship superheroes. The statue of Captain America in
in Brooklyn. It's just a statue to express, thankfulness to a fictional person and appreciation. We did not, in all the statues that you might find in somebody's house, that was a hobby. That's what they did. They didn't necessarily craft them, but they collected them. If you find an altar, okay, that one person might have, but we, as a society in the West, in the United States, do not currently worship superheroes with any organized fashion that one might in a church.
Sure, man. I hope they get that message loud and clear.
that is the most random thing after tonight. It's like what happened? We didn't worship superheroes. I just want to let everybody know we did not worship superheroes. But in reality, I mean, kind of we might have, but no, we didn't. Okay.
I like it though. I like it. I think that needs to be said, because nowadays that's what they are turning out to be for just pop culture wise. But yeah, like you said, we're aware of this now, but in the future they're gonna need to know, or else they're gonna. I wonder if that's what all the other cultures kind of are like forgot to get across, with like you look at the Roman or Greek pantheon. Maybe, yeah.
Right? You hear all of these stories and all these legends like, okay, well, Zeus was this guy who had sex with like 14 billion people. And you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
But then this other guy came across to this and then it became this doohickey, and now all of a sudden we have unicorns? What?
I feel you, man.
Now there's a planet? And Rome's is even crazier on their stories, and it's same thing with Norse mythology is, oh no, they were gods because you people were too simple to explain. Boy, please.
Gotcha, man. Any last things you'd like to say before we head out of here?
Yeah, so last thing is a piece of advice.
Go for it.
Of unsolicited advice to anybody who might be listening. And if you agree with this, put it in the comments. If you don't, type it out in the comments. And trust me, I will be watching the comments and I will respond. So you can go to FanDuel and place a bet on that. But the last piece of advice that I have is never assume you know someone else's story better than they do. Whether it be in the past or in the present. Or you believe some things might happen if A plus B equals C. Never assume that you know someone else's story better than they do. They lived it. You didn't.
I'm there with you, man. Remember to listen well if someone's sharing their story. But yeah, man, I just want to thank you again for stopping by, sharing your story. I mean, man, you had me cracking up, at least in the beginning part of the episode, and then at the end. But that middle part we had to get a little serious. And then want to thank all the folks out there as well for tuning in. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or catching this on YouTube, appreciate your time as well. Remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love, and we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace.
See ya.
And then get the credits rolling. It's like, how there's after credit scenes and stuff. Just wanted to ask you real quick, any feedback from me? Anything positive or negative that you felt like you encountered on the podcast?
First off, I want to give you a plus on how many of the notes that you have made available. Like 6 pages of notes.
Yeah.
Look, these are all the questions I might possibly ask. And it's just like, okay, cool. No, it's easy 29. And I'm like, okay, easy 29. I'm right there with you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got the question. I'm formulating an answer. It was nice and smooth. It was the way it, good podcast was supposed to be. I might recommend some music in the background, just kind of like chill out, lo-fi, royalty-free type music that you can use, that you can credit somebody with. Possibly an intro song.
I gotcha.
You know, or intro graphics that you can use for YouTube that would you can formulate with the different people you've had on your podcast with the funniest moments or the most serious moments, and you can, you know, use that for an intro video and put that on the front in the tag, and you've got this on the tag. So
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I thank you for the feedback, and thank you for the kind words as well. Everything you've mentioned.